Hello everyone, this is Suraj here. Welcome you all to my channel. Today I will show you how to access S3 objects from any servers without any credentials. See here in this diagram, one S3 bucket is there in account A, right? And EC2 instance in the same account is accessing the objects within this bucket, and another instance from another account is also accessing these objects. We can even use on-premises server, and from personal computer also we can access S3 objects. So let's go to AWS console and configure the same. I'm into AWS console. Now I will go to EC2 instance and we'll create one EC2 instance in this account. Instances, I'll launch one. I will name this as demo one, and here I will choose instance type as t2.micro. Yes, it is selected, and for key pair I will proceed without a key pair. Fine. And here in the network part I will create one security group. Fine. And the name will be launch wizard 1, and SSH will be allowed from anywhere. That is fine. Only port 22 will be opened. Launch instance. Okay, let it be launched, and we'll go to S3 bucket and we'll create one S3 bucket. Fine. Create bucket. I'll create one S3 bucket Suraj Bera 1996, and let me choose any region. Currently we are in North Virginia and I will put it in North Virginia only. You can use any other region also. No issues with that. Okay. Let me create that, and all the other settings will be unchanged. Okay. This is our bucket. Fine. So what we will do, we'll go to this instance, and it is now running. We'll try to connect to this instance. EC2 instance connect and connect. We are now connected to that instance. Fine. Now what we will do, we'll try to list all the objects within that bucket. Fine. So what is the CLI command for that? AWS S3 LS and the bucket name, right? Suraj Bera 1996. See, unable to locate credentials, you can configure credentials by running AWS configure. Why we are getting this error? Because we have not attached any IAM role to this instance so that the EC2 instance can access S3 objects from that particular S3 bucket, right? So we are not going to do this. We are not going to configure AWS configure, and we are not going to attach any IAM role, because our requirement was to skip the credentials part, right? To skip the authentication part. So how we can do this? So there is one flag, no sign request. So if we add this one, no sign request, what it will do? It will not check for the credentials in the first step, right? So whatever the permissions will be allowed from the S3 bucket itself, it will go there directly. It will not check for any credentials. Fine. So let's go for this command. AWS S3 LS Suraj Bera 1996, this bucket, and no sign URL. Enter. Now see what it is saying. It is saying that access is denied. Yes, access is denied because S3 bucket is not configured to allow this EC2 instance to get object or put object or list object, right? So what we will do, we will go to this S3 bucket, Suraj Bera 1996, and go to permissions, bucket policy, and here we will update the bucket policy. So we'll go to policy generator and we'll choose S3 allow principal star. Anyone can use this. So I'll do a list bucket, get object, put object, right? Get object, list bucket, put object, right? So what will be the ARN? ARN is the S3 bucket ARN. Fine. So see, there should be two different ARNs, right? One for list bucket, that means it will use the bucket ARN, and another for get object and put object, because for the get object and put object we need the arn for the object, not the bucket, right? So we will modify once we will save this. So go to condition, and here I will search for ip address, right? And key will be source ip, aws source ip. And what will be the value? Value will be the public ip of the tc2 instance, right? And now add this condition, add statement, generate policy. See, this is our bucket policy, right? So now I will copy this and we'll paste here. And in the resource part, what we will do, we will add the resource arn of the s3 objects also, right? So how we can do that? Inside one array. So I will copy this one within double quotation. This is the arn of the s3 bucket slash star, means any object within this, right? And at last we will add one comma. Fine. I will save go for save changes. Okay, it's now saved. Let's see. Okay, so this is our bucket policy. Now we'll go to the EC2 instance again and we'll run the previous command aws s3ls, the bucket name and the flag no sign URL. Enter. See, it is showing nothing, right? Because nothing is there inside this bucket. Let me go to the objects. See, nothing is there. So what I will do, I will create one file within this EC2 instance and will keep this file in the S3 bucket. So I will do echo hello world demo.txt, right? So if I do cat demo.txt, yes, this is hello world. ls-l, see, demo.txt is just created and it's present now. Now I will copy this demo.txt file from this EC2 instance to that S3 bucket. So how we can do that? AWS S3 cp demo.txt, then S3 colon slash slash the bucket name slash and no sign request. Let's see. It is now uploaded, right? I'll go to this bucket and we'll refresh here. See, it has been uploaded just now. Now we have seen without updating the credentials also, we can access S3 objects, right, from any particular bucket. So I will try with my personal laptop, right? So I'll go for what is my IP, what is my IP, so that we can check the current public IP address we are using for our network, right? So this is my public IP. Okay, I will go to CMD, and here if you see, if I go for AWS configure, I will check first. See, AWS key is nothing, right? Nothing is set up. Suppose I am setting up something. Here also I am setting up something, and region US East 1. Okay, and this is none. AWS configure. Okay, so see, all these values are there already, right? So if I go for AWS S3LS or AWS S3CP, all these things, it may work, right? So that time we will not be understanding whether it is working for these credentials or for the no sign request, right? So for this, what we can do, we can remove all these values. Okay, so for that, what I can do, I will go to my C drive, user, my username and .aws folder, and here this credentials and config, these two files are there, right? I will delete these two files, right? Close. And again, if I go for AWS configure, see, nothing is there, right? So now I will list all the objects within that particular S3 bucket from my local system. AWS S3 ls, the bucket name, and the flag will be no sign request. Let's see. So our expected output is demo.txt because that file is already present in that S3 bucket, right? So let's go for enter. See, access is denied. Why? Because we have not added the public IP of my personal laptop in the bucket policy, in the S3 bucket policy, right? So what I need to do, I need to copy this IP address and I will go to this permission and in the bucket policy go for edit bucket policy, and here in the AWS source IP I will paste this. It will be there inside one array because multiple values are there. So what is the condition here? Only allow what actions are allowed: get object, list object, and put object. What are the resources? The bucket itself and the objects within that bucket, right? And what is the condition? The condition is if the source IP is these values, if the request is coming from these IPs, right? So basically what we are doing, we are just mentioning the IP addresses or the public IP addresses of any servers, right? So if we do this, we do not need any credentials to set up in the server end. So save changes. Now I will try the same command again. See, it's now coming demo.txt, right? So it is working with my local system also. So the last thing I will try with another AWS account. Okay. So I'll go to another account. See, this is another account number. Okay. So I'll go to EC2 instance and we'll create one EC2 instance here. Instances, launch instances. I'll name this as demo2. Instance type will be t2.micro. Okay. And key pair, I will not choose any key pair. Here in the network setting, we are creating one security group, launch wizard 1, and here we are allowing SSH access from anywhere, right? And I'll launch this instance. It's now launched. Go to instances and it's in pending state. We'll wait for some time. It's now running. Okay, let me select this and I'll copy the public IP address of this instance and we'll go to another account, and here our S3 bucket is there, and I'll go to the bucket policy and we'll update the IP address here, comma, the IP address, right? And save changes. Now I will go to the another account. Here we just have launched a demo to EC2 instance and we'll try to connect to this instance. Connect, connect. We are now connected to the instance, right? Now I'll go for the same command, AWS S3 ls, the bucket name, and the flag will be no sign request. Let's see, our expected output should be one file, that is demo.txt, right? See, it is coming. So now what we will do, we will copy the demo.txt file which is pasted in the S3 bucket and we'll paste here or we'll download here inside this EC2 instance. Fine. So AWS S3 CP, we are copying something from where? From that S3 bucket. So S3 colon slash slash the bucket name and then the file name, right? Where we are doing in the present directory dot and no sign request. Let's see. Yes, it's now downloaded. ls hyphen l. Yes, we are listing this file and let me check the content. Cat demo.txt. Enter. See, hello world, it's coming. The same content is showing. That's it for now today. We'll see you in the next video. If you really like this video, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye.